This Transformers96 here within the video, I'm going to be talking about some newly shown images from Toy Fair. These are the DC Collectibles movie base series of 6-inch figures, and these pictures were released a few days before Toy Fair. It was actually part of DC Collectibles previews for Toy Fair, which is quite neat. I will say that I am sick, so if I do sound different, that is the case, and that's the reason. And also because of that, it may take me a while to make some of the videos that I want to make about the things that are shown at Toy Fair, because I really, I want to talk about a bunch of stuff. However, you know, like even this video, I wish I could have done a couple days ago, but because I was sick, it did cause me to delay making it. So bear with me. It might take me, you know, longer to get the videos out, but I will at least eventually make the videos talking about everything that I found interesting at the New York Toy Fair 2016. So this was very exciting. I love DC movies as much as I love Marvel movies, basically, and so far, we've really only had Mattel making the actual, you know, just regular 6-inch DC movie figures, which, you know, is a shame. Mattel is not that great of a company. They do some decent figures. They do some good things with their figures. However, they're not anywhere close to what Hasbro does with their Marvel Legends. They have less articulation. Sculpting is not as good. And even their articulation points, I'm not a big fan of, like the way they do their thighs and things like that. So I was very excited to actually see that DC Collectibles is stepping up, because they have great quality DC products. However, they haven't made any movie-based products in the 6-inch scale, so I am extremely happy that they are starting to do that. And what's great is they started off by showing a lot of new figures. They showed 9 new figures, all based on movies, of course. And yeah, so extremely exciting. Let's get talking about them. They showed 4 things from Dawn of Justice, 2 things from Suicide Squad, and 3 things from Man of Steel, which is very interesting. Obviously, that movie came out 3 years ago, so they are going back to make figures from that movie, which I wouldn't have expected, but I am super grateful for. Starting off here, we have the Armored Batman, looking really nice. I have to say, a DC Collectibles level of detail is fantastic, and exceeds, you know, Hasbro in some cases too. So it's not like we're finally evening the level with Hasbro, but we're actually exceeding it in most cases, which is just great. And really love it. It looks like there's some excellent detail, especially in the armor pieces, and articulation looks good. It says in the bio for this toy line that that figures will have up to 40 plus points of articulation, which is extremely high. And just from looking at these figures, I don't see how a single one can actually hit 40 points of articulation. So we'll have to see. There might be some hidden joints here that I'm not seeing on some figures, or what the case is, but 40 joints is extremely high, so I'd be very interested to see which figure qualifies that number, because that is incredibly high. But it looks like some good articulation, definitely at least a ball jointed head, ball hinge shoulders, bicep swivel on this one in particular. You've got double hinge elbows, which are quite nice, ball jointed wrist. It's hard to tell in this figure, but on the other figures, it looks like there's a ball joint upper torso, and then with like Superman and things, it looks like there'll be a ball joint, or at least a swivel at the thigh area, or sorry, at the waist area. Thighs are ball jointed, double hinge knees, and I'm guessing it's a hinge pivot on the ankle. DC Collectibles has started to do the pivot on the ankle, so I would imagine that's going to be the case with this line. They do have cloth capes, which is really nice and really cool. I can't tell if they're wired, because either this is a wired cape or there's just like a string here. I would imagine this is wired, though. Some of these capes look wired and then some don't, so I'll be interested to see if they're all wired or if it's kind of just depending on the figure. But this Armor Batman looks excellent, and he is priced higher than the rest, which I will talk about the price after I talk about the figures. Alright, we have Lex Luthor looking quite nice. Nothing super interesting happening with this. I think the facial likeness to Jesse Eisenberg is quite good. The hair is a bit puffy. It looks a little bit too big. However, I still think it looks nice, and do like the way the pants are sculpted, looking very natural there. High points of articulation, basically, you know, about the same as what I said with Batman up there. It does say that you will get a second head sculpt with a bald Jesse Eisenberg, which is really nice, and I think that's obviously more iconic Lex Luthor, so I think that'll probably be the one that I display him with. Then we have Superman. This is the one that I think looks the weakest of them all. I think the head sculpt's decent. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look bad though at all. It looks pretty on par. Just nothing too great. What I really don't like about it is the odd proportions. I mean, it looks like he has two shoulders on each side. I don't understand that. And it looks like this doesn't have any movement to it. So it's really weird. It's like they sculpted a shoulder and then they handed it off to the next person to sculpt some more, and then they didn't realize this was a shoulder, and then they sculpted another shoulder. It looks very odd. I don't think it looks good, and I really hope that that's just this preview picture and that the final product is improved. Like what I was saying with the wire, this cape doesn't look like it's wired at all. So, I really can't tell. Superman is the one that should have the wired cape for sure. So I would hope that he does have a wired cape, as well as his wrist looks really odd here. I mean, the thighs also look very strange. I don't know why. I just, like everybody else, has really nicely sculpted features and has joints that are pretty well hidden and everything, except for Superman. Superman looks very clunky, very toy-like, and just not realistic. As well as, look at, why does he have all the skin showing? This should definitely be hidden a lot more. So the Superman absolutely looks like the weakest link, and I hope that's just this preview image and that the final product does look pretty decent, because this isn't looking too great, I will say. Wonder Woman looking great. I think that I haven't done any really in-depth side-to-side comparisons with the facial likeness. However, I think that just from my eye looking at these, that this is one of the best facial likenesses of the bunch here. I think that it really looks like Gal Gadot, and it looks excellent. I like the hair sculpted really nicely, looks really natural. I would hope that it doesn't get in the way of posability, but the way that it's draping in front of her her body as well as behind, I would imagine that it will limit articulation, which is a shame. But the rest of the costume looks really good. Definitely like the colors a lot. Obviously, her colors are quite muted in this movie, and I think that this does represent it. She does have the lasso hooked around there, and I think that she looks great. Obviously, I would assume that she'll come with her sword and her shield, of course, but she looks like an excellent figure, so very happy about that one. We get Faora, which is fantastic. I mean, who would have thought that 3 years after the movie came out, we'd get another Faora figure? That's fantastic. I'm really happy about that. She was an awesome character in the movie, and I was really hoping Hot Toys would make a version or a toy of her. They didn't, unfortunately, so it is really nice to get another really good representation of Faora. The only one that I have so far is the Mattel one, so it is great to get such an upgrade. Looking like a fantastic figure. They sculpt her excellently. Looks like she's got a great range of motion in the elbows just by how far that joint is cut in both places. I think it looks like she's going to have a nice jointed elbow. Her cape doesn't look wired. Again, it's hard to tell. It definitely is, but I don't think it's a wired cape. Now, what's really weird about her is that she has no joints in the thighs. So I don't know why that's the case. She's definitely going to have thigh articulation. I mean, it would just be crazy for her not to have the thigh articulation. There's no reason to not sculpt them. So I would guess that there's one of two reasons as to why this is the case. Number one, this is like an early prototype, so they actually haven't sculpted the joint yet. Possibly, I would doubt that, but that is a possibility. As well as the thing that I think is probably not the case as well, but maybe she has a cloth suit right here, but it would really not make sense, and it's not really in line with what DC Collectibles does, so I'm not quite sure why there's a lack of a joint. I would be shocked if she really doesn't have thigh articulation. However, both of my other guesses as to why there's not one pictured, I don't believe are the case either. So we'll have to see. I'm very interested to see what the case is with that, because she's the only figure that doesn't have the thigh articulation. And then there is another figure that is lacking key articulation as well, so I'll discuss that when I come up to it. Jor-el, very exciting. I think the likeness to Russell Crowe is pretty good. Looking very nice, and we really don't have a lot of armored versions of Jor-el, like the Hot Toys one. He didn't have his armor on, so I think that them doing the armor is a good choice. His cape does look wired, the way it bows out, especially the way it's lifted over here. I would imagine that that is wired. I think it looks great though, and it looks like the wrist joint is hidden extremely well, and it looks like a solid figure. If I didn't get one of the figures, it would probably be this guy, but that's not because he doesn't look great, it's just because character-wise, he's not super necessary in my opinion. However, I do still plan to get him at the moment. I plan to get them all actually, so we'll have to see. And maybe closer to his release I will skip him, but I doubt it. General Zod, extremely exciting, of course. General Zod is an awesome character in the movie. I really loved him, so to get another toy of him is just excellent. He looks really good. I like the facial likeness is decent here, not fantastic, but I do definitely like the way that he's angry. Excuse me. You will get 2 extra heads with him, a helmeted head, as well as another head where he's using his heat vision or laser blast eyes, which I think is awesome. I'm very excited for that. And looks like an excellent figure. Definitely great articulation. Of course, he does have the thigh joints, even though he uses the same type of material or as the Faora will. So really interested in the Faora doesn't come with that. Also, I forgot to mention that Faora is going to come with a secondary head that has the helmet on, which has like the clear face. So that is exciting. I don't think we've seen any Faora figure or statue or anything that actually has that. So that is very exciting. And then his cape does look wired as well. Then we move on to the Suicide Squad figures. We have El Diablo, which is a really interesting choice. I wouldn't have expected them to make him, but I am happy that they're making him. Looking really nice. I think the facial likeness is good. Tattoos look really good. Like that he comes with a bit of a flame effect. I would hope that he comes with a bit more flame effects and not just that one small one, but I do think that it is nice that he comes with something. And I think that the pants are sculpted just absolutely fantastic. I mean, this looks so natural and so realistic. I mean, that if you just took a picture of this square right here, you wouldn't think it's a toy at all. So really, I'm impressed with how they sculpted the pants there. I think that looks excellent. And then we ended at Harley Quinn. Of course, this is a Suicide Squad member that they would have to make. She looks great. Personally, I'm quite happy that they sculpted her without the jacket. I think that she looks better without the jacket in the movie pictures. And so I am happy because most companies are doing her with the jacket. So to get representation of her without it is really cool. And I am pretty happy about that. The facial likeness is decent. I don't think it's fantastic, but I don't think it's bad either. Hair looks like it's sculpted pretty nicely, although it looks a bit small. That may just be me, but I think the hair on the sides here, the ponytail, should be a bit bigger, but I'm not quite sure. The collar that she's wearing, necklace type of thing that says Puddin', it seems quite loose, which is really strange. I don't know. I think it should have a tighter fit. I don't see a reason why they made it a separate piece. Why not just sculpt it to her neck to make it more form-fitting? But it does look quite loose, which is strange. This is the figure that is lacking a key point of articulation. She doesn't have any knee joints from what we can see in this picture. So again, who knows why that's the case. I mean, maybe she'll have like interchangeable legs to actually, if you wanted a really clean look without a joint, or if you wanted a joint. But I really just don't see that happening. So I'll be really interested to see what they end up doing with that, and I would be super disappointed if she actually just doesn't have knee articulation. But the figure itself looks sculpted just excellently and really cool. It does mention that she comes with her, her necklace there, a gun, and then her signature hammer. It doesn't mention anything about a bat. Obviously, she's going to come with a bat, so either the hammer was a typo, or she will also come with a bat and maybe some more accessories, so we'll have to see. But really loving all of these figures. They are priced quite substantially higher than DC Collectibles' normal rate. They are $45, every single one of them, except for this Armored Batman, who's $50. They are up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store, and they are all $5 cheaper than their scheduled prices. So if you did want to get them for a discount, I recommend going for them on Big Bad Toy Store. So some of them are released or set to be released in September, some in November, and then some in 2017. The Suicide Squad ones are scheduled for 2017, and then it's a little confusing when the other ones are going to come out. The Man of Steel ones, Jor-el Zod, Faora, as well as Batman, the Armored Batman, and Superman are definitely coming out in September. I haven't seen anything to to make that not the case. But it is confusing because Jor-el, although he's scheduled for September, he says in the description for this line, they don't mention him as being part of the first series. And then I've also seen on Toy Arc is reporting that Wonder Woman and Lex Luthor are scheduled to come out in November. However, on Big Bad Toy Store, they're scheduled to come out in September. So I'm a little confused. General Zod, Faora, Superman, and Batman will definitely come out in September. But as far as Jor-el, Lex Luthor, and Wonder Woman, they might come out in September, they might come out in November, not quite sure. And then the Suicide Squad figures will definitely come out in 2017. The release dates are all quite far, which is disappointing. Would definitely like to get them a little sooner, but you know, it's worth the wait to get these awesome figures. And their price tag is extremely high, and I hope that that just means that their quality matches that price, because it's definitely much higher than DC Collectibles' usual rate. Typically for a 6-inch figure from them, it's $25. So this is $20 to $30 overpriced on each figure, which is insane. So I would hope that these would be excellent quality and definitely come with every accessory that I could want because of the substantial price increase. So hopefully that will be the case. But either way, I'm just so grateful to actually get a really nice movie toy line for DC films, considering Mattel doesn't quite cut it, and that so far that's been our only option. And when I did buy the first wave of Mattel figures from Dawn of Justice, but once these pictures came out, I packaged them all back up and I plan to return them. So even though these are more expensive, I am going to be saving $20 per figure because I won't have to buy the Mattel ones now. So very excited for this. I think that they look excellent, and I'm stoked about their character choice. They seem to do just about everybody I could want. I would imagine they will also do Aquaman, a regular Batman, possibly Doomsday, and then they're definitely going to do more Suicide Squads. Suicide Squad figures. They did mention that they would be doing more, and obviously with only El Diablo and Harley Quinn, they're missing some key characters there. So hopefully they just make the entire squad plus Joker. We'll have to see though. So at the moment, I do plan to buy all of these. If I do skip any, it would be Jor-el. Superman, character-wise, I really need, but the figure just doesn't look great to me. So if he comes out not looking good, I might pass on him, but I'd be very surprised if that's the case. And but the rest is they're all absolutely must-haves, and I'm extremely excited for them. So let me know what you guys think of this new line, and thanks so much for watching.